On a cold winter morning, as people bustled past the subway station without a second glance, a tiny figure sat quietly in the corner, shivering and alone. Wrapped in a thin, tattered blanket and holding a broken sign that simply read, "Help me," the girl looked no older than 10. Her legs were twisted, her arms thin as sticks, and her eyes carried the weight of 100 silent rejections. Everyone ignored her. Commuters walked by, faces buried in their phones, minds consumed by their own problems. Some glanced at her with pity, but most just stepped around her like she was part of the trash blowing through the streets. No one asked her name. No one offered her food. No one wondered where she came from. Until Maria came. Maria was a poor woman who sold handmade bracelets and used clothes at a street corner nearby. Her earnings barely fed her and her son, Leo. Life had been cruel to her, but she had something that many lacked: kindness. That morning, as she passed by with a basket full of unsold trinkets, her eyes caught the girl sitting in the cold. She stopped. "Are you hungry, sweetie?" she asked, kneeling down. The girl nodded, slowly. Maria didn't hesitate. She handed her the warm sandwich she was saving for lunch and wrapped her own scarf around the girl's neck. The girl looked at her with eyes that had forgotten what kindness felt like. She whispered, "Thank you." That was the first time in weeks someone had spoken to her like she mattered. Maria took her home. Her one-room apartment was cramped and drafty, with a leaky roof and creaky floors, but to the little girl, whose name was Lily, it felt like heaven. She had a blanket, warm food, and someone who cared. Maria's son, Leo, was skeptical at first, but soon warmed up to Lily, especially after learning she loved the same cartoons and had a surprisingly sharp sense of humor. But life didn't suddenly get easy. Maria was warned by neighbors. "You can't just take in a strange girl," they said. "She's disabled. She'll be a burden." But Maria silenced them with a firm, "She's a child, not a burden." Still, behind closed doors, the struggles were real. Lily had frequent health issues. Maria spent nights by her side at the local clinic. The medical bills began to pile up. There were days when Maria didn't eat so she could buy Lily's medicine. One afternoon, Maria found Lily sobbing quietly. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" "I just want to know why my parents left me," Lily whispered. Maria hugged her tightly. "I don't know, baby. But I do know you're loved now." Lily clung to her, heartbreaking but also healing. Months passed. One day, while walking Lily in her wheelchair through the park, Maria noticed a man staring at them. He was well-dressed, mid-40s, with sharp eyes and a tense jaw. He walked up slowly, eyes locked on Lily. "Her name is Lily?" he asked gently. Maria stood protectively in front of her. "Why do you want to know?" The man knelt down to Lily's level. Tears welled in his eyes. "Because she's my daughter." Maria froze. The man, Daniel Harper, was a successful CEO. Years ago, his wife had taken Lily and disappeared after a bitter divorce. He had searched for them everywhere, but there had been no trace. When he found out his ex-wife had died in an accident and that Lily had vanished, he thought he'd lost her forever. The moment he saw the birthmark on Lily's hand, a small star shape, he knew. He broke down, sobbing, holding his daughter for the first time in years. But Lily didn't leap into his arms. She hesitated. Maria looked at her and said gently, "It's okay, sweetheart. He's your daddy." Lily finally whispered, "Only if Maria comes too." Daniel was stunned. This woman, a stranger, had given his daughter love, warmth, and life when the world had abandoned her. He invited them both to his mansion, but Maria declined at first. "I'm just a street vendor. I don't belong in your world." "You belong wherever kindness is valued," Daniel said. "You saved my daughter. I owe you everything." Eventually, Maria and Leo moved into a guest house on Daniel's estate, not as charity, but as family. Maria was offered a job in Daniel's company designing handcrafted accessories, turning her little street business into a full-fledged line. Leah was enrolled in a good school. Lily began her medical therapy with the best doctors. The transformation was incredible. Months later, Lily took her first steps with crutches. Maria cried more than anyone that day. Daniel stood beside her, placing a hand on her shoulder. "You didn't just save her life, Maria," he said. "You saved her heart." And so, the girl the world ignored, who had nothing and no one, became the daughter of a CEO, loved not for her name or background, but because one poor woman believed she mattered. In the end, it wasn't money that changed everything. It was compassion. Message: never underestimate the power of kindness. Sometimes, the poorest person can be the richest in heart, and that's the kind of wealth that changes lives.